Welcome everyone. I'm Chef Christine Hazel and I'm from Philadelphia and I'm here today with Caitlin from I Can Cook That. There you go. We're going to talk to you about making fresh ricotta cheese. So a lot of people think that it's a really hard process or you can't make your own, but it's very inexpensive and easy to do and we're going to show you how to start. All right, Caitlin, I'm going to ask you to do this for me, all right? We're going to show everyone at home that a home cook can easily make this cheese themselves. All right, so you're going to start off with 4 cups of milk.
Okay.
All right, and this is whole milk. Can't go skim on this one. Go. And we're going to put it over like a medium to high heat because we're going to come to a boil. Go. Next, we're going to add 2 cups of heavy cream. Go. All right, we're gonna make sure we season it with a heavy pinch of salt. All right, this is the fun part. We just have to wait a few minutes while our milk comes to a boil. And we're gonna sit here and tell you all the different things that you can do with this. You can use ricotta for, what would you use ricotta cheese for? Ravioli?
Yes, absolutely.
Lasagna. I would say my favorite use would be a charcuterie platter. So if you're ever having guests over and you want to have something quick, easy, and simple to do that has a lot of flavor, you can make your own cheese. And I feel like that's like a crowd pleaser. Everyone's going to be excited to try it. And you can serve it with fresh jams, any kind of like deli meats and pickles that you have in the fridge. So it's definitely something that's inexpensive and really, really easy to do. And you've seen that right now we've only used 3 ingredients, and that was milk, heavy cream, and salt. All right. Once this comes to a boil, which will be just about maybe 3 to 4 minutes, we're gonna reduce our heat down and we're gonna add vinegar. Once it comes to a boil, we're going to reduce the temperature down, we're gonna add our vinegar, and then we're gonna watch as the curds and the whey separate. All right?
Awesome.
It's gonna be very, very obvious to you. It's not gonna be something you don't see. All right, we are getting there. Making sure it's not sticking to the bottom. So we don't want to scorch the milk. So just do a little quick stir. All right, and then over on our left here, we have a bain-marie that's ready with a strainer. So once our mixture comes to a separation, we're gonna pour it through the strainer and you're gonna see what we have left over, which is our ricotta cheese. And we're gonna put 3 tablespoons of vinegar. Today we're using white wine vinegar because it has basically like a generic flavor across the board. All right, I feel like I see some movement. So literally you could be making your own cheese at home for under 10 minutes. And it's using ingredients that most people have in their pantry or their fridge. I think that's the best way to cook.
Absolutely.
There's so much waste out there. I feel like my favorite thing to do is to look at my pantry and come up with something new and different.
I always end up with like extra heavy cream after a recipe too.
Sure.
Always.
And I feel like most people, when they see a recipe, they always think it's like a strict guideline. I feel like the most important thing to do is remember that it is not. You should always improv on recipes and have fun with it because you're gonna create something new and different that you didn't before.
I tried to make gnocchi once.
How did it go?
Not great.
No.
Well, it wasn't terrible for a first try, but I don't think you're supposed to stop after 1. I think you need some time.
Yes.
So it's something I need to revisit.
I feel like fresh pasta takes a lot of practice. If you nail it on the first time, then you're a magician.
Yeah, it's tough to measure it out. You have to know when you need more or less flour, you know.
And especially that's about the improv, like feeling it. Especially
Exactly.
It's like knowing what the dough should feel like, and to touch. And it also depends on the different like water and the different types of flour you're using, things like that can change it. Temperature, it's very temperamental.
It's almost ready for me.
Almost. Okay, so especially with this type of ricotta, you can add in any flavors you want. If you wanted to whip it up with a little bit of a flavored olive oil or maybe some honey, I think it's the perfect addition to this to give it some bold flavors. You can go either sweet or savory. There is really no rules with this. Ooh. All right, I think we're ready.
All right.
All right, so add the vinegar. Turn it off. And we're gonna stir.
You can see it already happening.
Yeah, so right now what we're witnessing is it's the milk and the cream, the salt and the vinegar, and it starts to curdle. and making our cheese. And it's gonna be about 3 to 4 minutes. Stirring and separating. Right. If you're using an electric stove at home, I would just be very careful and really watch it closely because you have less control of the amount of heat you're applying. Okay. And if you look right now, you're gonna see like small, it almost looks sandy in a way because you're seeing the separation happening. So it was like a little bit of a science experiment. All right, so about 3 to 4 minutes, you're gonna see a definite separation. Make sure we're still on our low to medium heat. It will turn it up a little bit. And once we're done with that, we're gonna strain it and then we're gonna move on to making our fresh pasta. So Caitlin, when we're making our fresh pasta, what do you think would be a good pairing for a wine? We're gonna be doing like a nice light sauce. It's gonna be with olive oil and cheese and a strong garlic and black pepper flavor.
So it's funny, I tend to err on the side of red wine, but this is definitely a white wine recipe. Probably maybe a Pinot.
Pinot Grigio, it's one of my favorites.
I think that's what I would.
All right, we're gonna have to break some out and try it with our fresh pasta. All right, guys, it is coming together fairly quickly. And remember, if you don't have any vinegar on hand, you can definitely use lemon juice as well. Because we're gonna have we have our bain-marie set up. If you don't have a bain-marie, you can just use any type of bowl at home. What we're doing is trying to just keep the solids from the liquids at this point. So if we wanted a more drier ricotta that we could use on a charcuterie platter, I would say let it strain for a longer time and then probably use a cheesecloth. But for all purposes today, we're looking for something that has a little bit more moisture content because we're gonna be making fresh pasta. All right. Got a nice separation. What we're gonna do is we're gonna turn off the heat. Let's stop for just a moment. And then we're gonna pour it through the strainer. Slow it down a moment. Let the moisture go through the strainer. Caitlin, you see it?
Yeah.
All in there?
Looks good.
All right. So I'm gonna stop for a moment and you wanna give it a little stir. All right, so what we're seeing is the separation happening and the liquid is going to the bottom and our solids that we're gonna be using to make our pasta are remaining in the strainer. We're gonna let a little more liquid go through and then we're gonna pour the remaining solution in. That's all right, we're getting a little messy. I feel like that's most important when you're in the kitchen. So what we're looking for right now, we're gonna let that drain for a little while longer, and then we're gonna go and move on to our fresh pasta. All right guys, so today we're gonna be making a ricotta gnudi using some pecorino romano cheese and some fresh ricotta that we just made earlier. So it's been about 45 minutes and our ricotta is ready to go. As you can see in our bowl, it's nice and creamy, and we're just gonna mix it up to make it even more creamy, okay? So first things first, I'm gonna need you to put a heavy pinch of salt. So we've got our salt and our ricotta mixture. We're gonna whisk that up and give it a nice, use some muscle. In another bowl, I'm gonna separate the yolks from the egg whites. A little crack to the side, and what I do is just toss them back and forth like this, and it gets rid of the whites. Okay. I'm gonna do a little crack, and then once I open it up, go from side to side like so, get rid of all the whites. All right, so we're gonna add our 2 yolks to our ricotta and salt mixture. Okay, let's gonna stir that up. Alright. Looking good. You're going to see it's going to take on more of a yellowy tone from the yolks. And what we're going to add is pecorino romano cheese. It has a nice salty flavor. It's going to add more cheesiness to our pasta. It's about 1 cup.
Okay, you gotta be a little more careful.
Now I prefer freshly grated, but if you don't have time for that, it's perfectly okay. Once Caitlin's done mixing it up, if you want to do this in a food processor, you can as well. Basically, you would put the ingredients in, the ricotta, egg yolks, salt, and pecorino, and then give it a pulse 30 seconds, and that will give you the same results. What we're gonna do right now is we're gonna get our excess cheese mixture off our whisk. All right. I'm gonna put that aside. I'm gonna hand this over to Caitlin, All right? So we got our spatula, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna fold in our flour. If, for all you at home, not sure what folding means, it means I'm going to dump some in. Hazel, are you aware what that means?
I am.
All right. You're gonna scrape the sides and fold over each time. And you can also turn your bowl while you're doing it, so make sure everything's even. And right now we're doing 3/4 of a cup of all-purpose flour. So I'm gonna dump the remainder of our flour in. Caitlin's going to toss that around a little bit. All right, so what I'm gonna do, this is my test. It's not like an official test, but like you always wanna touch and feel the texture of the dough. It should stick to your hand a little bit, but when I pull back, you're not really gonna have a lot left on it. If your dough is a little bit on the wet side, after you do your test, you're gonna wanna fold in a little bit more flour. That way, it's gonna hold the pasta together. So when it goes into the water, it's not gonna fall apart. All right, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna take our dough and we're gonna take a nice lump of our dough and we have it on a cutting board. We're gonna take a little bit of the flour, there you go, and we're gonna do a little sprinkle just so it doesn't stick. Okay. And when we're gonna, Caitlin, you're gonna take your dough in your hand, and what we're gonna do is roll it out like a log. So once we roll our log out, we're going to cut it in half. And we're always gonna look at our surface, make sure there's not too much flour. We don't want it to get dry, but enough just to make it not stick on our surface. Okay? We're gonna, with our palm of our hand, we're gonna place it onto the log and we're gonna roll back and forth. All right, once it gets a little bit bigger than our hand, we're gonna use both hands. Yeah, right. All right, so we're looking to get about a 3/4 inch diameter in our log. There's no right or wrong. I just feel like it's the perfect. Right there, it's pretty good. All right, so what we want to do is you're gonna take your pizza slicer. All right, we're gonna make the ends squared off. All right, so nice and even. Don't throw away any dough because you can always use it later, and we can freeze it and use it another time. Okay. So what we're gonna do right now, make sure it's flat up against the slicer. Okay. And you're gonna wanna make like 1-inch little pieces. Slice. Right? Slice. And they're gonna look like little squares. Okay. You wanna keep them pretty even for the most part. That way the cooking time won't have to be very. Scrape off any residue. It's looking good.
I was like, oh gosh, what's an inch? I got it now.
Great, I need a little more flour on my board.
Okay, let me start
Right.
this one off. Okay, cool. Got it?
They're real good. All right, so we'll set them aside for the moment. Once Caitlin is done rolling out her dough, which she's finishing up now, it's okay.
Got a little nubbin. It's okay, it's fine.
So right now we are done with our pasta dough and we're going to move on to the cooking process. And then we're also going to show you how we can make our Cacio e Pepe sauce, which is basically like a fancy name for a sauce with a lot of cheese and a lot of pepper, made with fresh pasta using our fresh ricotta. All right, so right now we have we're waiting for our water to boil. So we're going to cook off our fresh pasta. So one of the most important things is we're gonna wanna make sure we have a good amount of salt in our water. All right. This is where we're seasoning the pasta. So salted water. We're gonna bring it up to a low boil because this is more like a fragile pasta and we don't want it to be breaking apart. So right now we have some small bubbles going on in here, as you can see. We're gonna do about 8 dumplings at a time. We're gonna drop them in gently. And it's not gonna be a long process. It's basically gonna be about 30 to 45 seconds. And how we're gonna know that they're done is that you're gonna see the dumplings rise to the top.
Perfect.
One of the tools you're gonna need on hand is a slotted spoon. If we're not sure what a slotted spoon is, it's basically a spoon with holes. Right here, you see that? So when we're pulling out the dumplings, all the reserved water is gonna stay in the pan and not in our dumplings. Once we are done, we just make sure we just put our water aside because we're gonna use a little bit of the starchy water to make our sauce. All right, you ready?
Ready.
All right, so right now, Caitlin is going to drop in about 8 dumplings.
Why not?
The reason why I say only about 8 is just because it's your first time, and I feel like you should be able to keep your eye on them. So right now, you see there's not much happening, but it's gonna be fairly quickly. That's with most fresh pastas. It doesn't really take more than a minute or 2 to cook. kind of convenient.
See them wiggling.
Right? They're moving around a little bit, and we're just gonna wait, which I'm not that good at doing. I hate waiting for anything. And when you guys are doing it at home, if you feel comfortable, you can do it with a lot more. And you can also use a strainer at that point, or if you have like a pasta strainer as well, you can stick it in the bottom and then they start rising and you can just pull. Nice. But I feel like these are, you know, they need a little more delicate of a hand.
That one or that one? Those are the two that are racing to the top.
They're like the winners right now?
Yeah. Those are the ones that I put my money on.
And that's why we want to keep the dumplings similar in size, because the smaller ones are obviously going to take less time when they're going to be rising to the top. So try to keep them as uniform as possible, and nobody's perfect, but that's why we're using the slicer. It just makes it a lot easier of a process.
We have a winner.
We have a winner. It's all yours.
Right. Oh.
All right, Caitlin, you got this.
Come on, little guy. Okay.
All right, so we're just gonna remove the pasta. Oh, we got another one. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna set these aside, and then we're gonna show you how to make our sauce. Welcome back, everyone. We're about to attempt to make our Cacio and Pepe sauce, which basically just means a really cheesy black pepper sauce with some garlic and olive oil. So we're gonna show you a simple and easy way to make this sauce with 4 ingredients, and we're gonna use it on top of our ricotta nudie. Ready?
Ready.
All right, so we're gonna get our pan hot. That is the most important. All right. While we're getting our pan hot, we're gonna use my garlic infused olive oil. It's really, really flavorful, aromatic, and it really has a nice balance. So you're gonna get that garlic flavor, but it's not gonna overpower your dish. The great thing about this is something you can have in your pantry, and you don't have to worry about having fresh garlic on hand. I know a lot of home cooks sometimes using garlic in a hot pan, sometimes they scorch it a little, and it gives more of like a bitter taste. You're definitely eliminating that, and you're able to get a lot of flavor without many ingredients. So, we're gonna take our oil. I want Caitlin to smell it because it smells really, really good.
Oh, it smells so good.
We're just gonna do a nice little drizzle, coat the bottom of our pan. Yep, so while we're getting our sauce started, we're gonna need a good amount of freshly grated Parmesan cheese.
I'll be here for a
So
while.
I'm gonna put Caitlin to work, and I'm gonna have her be the muscle. All right, Caitlin, do you want some advice on this one?
Sure.
So what I would do, since this is like a really big hunk of cheese, and it's kind of hard to handle, what I would do
nice.
is just chop off a hunk, all right? So that way you,
Thank you.
It's perfect, a lot easier.
I can handle this size.
So you're just gonna keep your fingertips away from the microplane. If you don't have a microplane, you can have like just a regular old cheese zester at home. We'll do the same thing. All right, so we got our pan getting hot right now. I'm putting Caitlin to work. She is grating up our fresh Parmesan cheese. Again, if you don't have fresh, it's okay. You can use the ones that are already done in the store, but I feel like this adds a way better flavor. Okay, so she's got about, I would say, almost a cup at this point. Ready to go. All right, Caitlin, you can give it a break for a second. I think you're okay. We got our oil getting hot. We're gonna add a lot of black pepper. So this is a cheesy, peppery sauce. Okay, Pepe is in its name, so it really is gonna be flavor forward, and it's gonna have a little bit of a kick. So right now, I'm just adding a good amount of black pepper. I'm using a pepper mill, so that way it's freshly cracked. If we're using already like store-bought pepper that's already ground, what I would recommend is using less. It's going to distribute a lot faster, and it's going to be a lot spicier. So I think we'll do 1 or 2 more turns, and it's looking pretty good. And we're just going to let this in. Can you smell it?
I can.
So what you're smelling is the pepper toasting. It's going to be very apparent. We got a lot of aromas going on right now.
Yeah.
Fresh garlic, olive oil, pepper. Once it gets hot, after about a minute, we're going to add our cheese. And we're also going to add some of our starchy water, which is left over from what we cooked the pasta in. I'm going to move around the oil a little bit so nothing's burning or sticking to the bottom. So we got our hot oil, which is infused with garlic and now black pepper. Caitlin's going to add a few tablespoons of our starchy water while I'm whisking. There we go. We're basically just looking to emulsify, basically means blend together. Make 2 different things, the water and the oil become one. So I'm going to just vigorously whisk a little bit. Caitlin, you want to add some cheese? Slowly come together. cheese while I'm still stirring. Alright, stirring.
Add a little bit more for you.
Alright, so a little bit more and then we should be pretty good to go.
Alright, last one.
So right now in our pan we have our garlic infused olive oil, black pepper, freshly grated Parmesan cheese, and a little bit of the starchy water that we cooked our ricotta nudie in. And that's all it takes, okay? So once this comes together, you're seeing like this cheesy deliciousness right now. We're gonna add in our pasta. All right, see how cheesy it's getting? Caitlin, add in some pasta. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stop whisking at this point. So what we're looking to do right now is just warm the sauce through and cook the pasta. It's already pre-cooked, but what we're doing is trying to warm it through so it's served hot and ready to go for our guests. All right, it's getting hot. I'm just gonna toss and coat. And then, cheese for us, the finishing touch. Once we go to plate up, we're gonna freshly grate the cheese over top and serve it nice and piping hot. Sure, go here. You can see our pasta are staying together quite nice. And right now it's just basically marrying the flavors of the cheese and the garlic and the black pepper with our fresh ricotta nudie. So Caitlin, have you made this type of dish before?
I have, not with nudie. So I just use store-bought pasta, but this is definitely a favorite of mine.
And if you want to get really fancy, you can always, put a little fresh chopped parsley or chives on top. I feel like this will add a little bit of freshness, a little bit of flavor. So right now you're seeing small bubbles, okay? And this is like one of my favorite comfort foods, so I'm really happy to share it with you today. Since I'm such a cheese lover, I can't help it.
Yeah, you can never have too much cheese.
No. All right, so we're almost there, guys. Probably about 30 more seconds. Just we want to make sure that the pasta is cooked all the way through and warm. Right? And also, if you definitely want to serve it with some toasted bread.
Oh yeah. You have to sop up all that sauce.
All right, so if you look in there, you see the little pillows of pasta topped with our black pepper and our garlic infused olive oil and our freshly grated Parmesan cheese. I'm going to turn the heat off. And I have my nice little plate. You want to hold that for me? Right. And then we're going to top it with the freshly grated cheese. Set this aside for now. All right, she's a pro with this cheese right now. Here, I gotta go fresh on this one.
Oh, that was my fault. How dare I? It's good.
All right, so a little bit of freshness and a nice pop of color. Go. Right.
Sauce.
What do you think?
It is so pillowy. Oh my gosh. You don't have to chew.
It's no, it basically melts in your mouth.
Yeah. The garlic olive oil is such a good choice. That comes through.
It has a lot of flavor with just a few ingredients that you have in your pantry. So this is something that I feel like most home cooks can do.
Absolutely.
And Caitlin's on board. So if you so if you want this recipe, stay tuned. And also if you want to tune in with us next week, we're gonna make some fresh mozzarella and show you all the versatile dishes you can make with that.
Awesome.
All right, I want some more.